You know, most of the figures I review are really good. It's too bad this one isn't. Hey guys, this is AwesomeJohn22 and I'm coming at you today with another review, and today, only like 2 days late, is my first review for Megatron week. Clap, clap, clap. Yeah, okay. So today we are taking a look, as promised, at the 07 movie leader class Megatron, and I just have one thing to say about this guy. What the hell is this? I don't know what this is. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be a jet. He was a jet in the movie, right? Like a weird Cybertronian jet, but let's look at this thing for a second, guys. Okay. First of all, his head is sitting right there on top. It's not even sunken down into anything. And I know I said in my Prime Megatron review that I like that on Megatron, but at least in the movie it was like down here-ish. It was integrated somewhat into the figure. It looked natural. Here's just sitting on top, and that's dumb. Also, are those supposed to be the wings? Because I don't think he could fly with those wings. And I'm pretty sure that this here is supposed to be the engines. Those are really small engines. Point being, guys, I don't like this boat at all. I think they did a poor job on it. The Voyager class from that same toy line did a much better job on this mode. Though I don't have the Voyager class from that toy line, so I have to settle for this. Not only that, but of course, this guy is better to scale with a lot of the other movie toys, and I am a bit of a stickler for scale. Anyway, so we are starting in vehicle mode, because like I said in my Prime Megatron review, it is better to end up in robot mode, even if you really want to show off how really, really horribly fiddly the transformation from robot to vehicle really is. And it's pretty fiddly for this guy too. But my job is to show off the figure, not make fun of it incessantly. At least not all the time. And the robot mode is considerably better than the vehicle mode, even if it still does have its issues. So we're going to transform it from vehicle mode to robot mode first. Push in the nose here. Next, we're going to flip the whole thing over. And this is going to be tricky, guys, because this is like the biggest figure I've ever reviewed. And we're going to just unpeg everything from here. Just kind of loosen it up. Now we're going to come to each wing, and we are going to untab the legs from the wings. You can see they are tabbed on by these giant tabs. Now, we're going to bring the legs up, and it's a mess, guys. This thing's a mess. We're going to do this. We're going to rotate this whole thing around. Bring this up, like so. Now we're going to come down to the legs. You can hear some nice ratcheting joints in there. In this joint, I don't even know what this is. But when you collapse that joint, it does also auto-transform the feet. It's really stiff, and it's frustratingly stiff. Let me put it that way. So now, if I can actually get this in frame, we have something resembling a body. And as you can see, the transformation on this guy isn't too bad. It could at least be considerably worse. Anywho, now we're going to spread his arms out, which allows us to bring all of this down. We're going to come around to the back. You can see his mega head here. We are going to take it like this and fold this like so, and then fold this back. Or maybe not. Hold on. Give me a second. Let's put his head in place first. Why don't we do that? You can see there a tab and a hole. You bring this all the way up, tab it in. Then you tab in his arms. Which, I hate his arms. I'm gonna say that right now. I hate them. Now, we come back here. Ow. See what I mean? See what I mean? This guy is fiddly. He's fiddly. He's fiddly. Anyway, now we're going to come down to the arms. If you can't tell, guys, I'm not a huge fan of this figure, but we're going to get to it. Come down to the arms. Do like so. Come down to the other arm. And do like so again. It's not that different on either side. Now we're going to make sure everything's straightened out, because it's bound to not be. There we go. And there, guys, we have movie Megatron. And if you'll notice, there we go. Forgot about that. If you'll notice, there's a bit of a problem with this figure. Well, there's several bits of problems with this figure. Let me put it this way. You see that blue that's kind of painted onto him all over the place, like on his face and on his shoulders, on his arms. Well, that's a really nice color blue, and if they had continued to kind of brush that on the rest of the figure, I think it would have looked great. But if you'll notice, it's nowhere else. It's just kind of on some of his limbs, and then it's not there anymore. And while he does have these really nice light-piped eyes, I'm going to see if I can... Whoops. Let's see if I can show that off for you. You can kind of see him glowing in my light. Yeah, he has these really nice light-piped eyes. His head has no posability at all whatsoever. You can see, doesn't move it, because it's solidly pegged in there. His arms rotate here, but they barely peg in at the shoulder. Barely. And they only move about yay far. And they only have those crappy in and out elbows. Yes, he can rotate like this, but then he's just uppercutting you. And for his legs, even though he has ratchet joints, you would expect him to be really strong. They're not. Especially this leg on mine is really floppy. And for his elbows, or knees rather, he only bends about yay far, and he has no articulation in his massive, massive feet. So you can get this guy in very, very few poses. It's like saying, I don't even know what it's saying. It's just hard. You can't pose a guy's legs if his feet are that wide and that flat. It's just not possible. I don't like this figure very much. I enjoy it because it is part of my Transformers movie experience, and I cherish that. He can move in and out too. I didn't mention that. And I do cherish that. Just like before I finally sold it, I really enjoyed my first movie Optimus. But then the second movie Optimus came out, and there was absolutely no reason to have the first movie Optimus anymore. Because the second movie Optimus captured everything that was great about the first movie Optimus and improved upon it. The second movie Megatron, well, we'll get to that guy soon enough. But needless to say, I think movie Megatron got gypped a couple times over. Anyway, there is more to talk about in this figure. It does have some gimmicks. You saw one. And that would actually be pretty cool if it didn't mean that all of this had to be devoted to the gimmick and couldn't be transformable. That's just annoying to me. I really, this is why I didn't like Armada, guys. I really don't like, and even Cybertron to a lesser extent. I don't like toy lines they're sculpted around these useless gimmicks. Yes, that's very cool. But you could have given him a sound effect without having to make all of this stuff move. And then he might have actually been able to have an intricate transformation. And that bums me out. Now, there is one gimmick I like. If you come here and you pull his hand out and kind of spread his fingers. You can pull the whole thing out and he gets a mace. And I think that's pretty cool. I do like that. Over here, on his other arm, we also have something pretty cool, though I don't really get it. We can take this thing. Let me angle my shot a little bit better. You can take this thing, and I'm not really sure how you were ever supposed to get this to work. Like, oh no, here we go. Here's a tap. Ha! And it pops this open, and I think what you're supposed to do, because if you remember in the movie, he would bring his two hands together and do this, but it's still kind of the same thing. And you pull this, and he gets a cannon. And there's Megatron's cannon. And that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. And if he had just been left with those gimmicks and a light-up gimmick, maybe, rather than the whole moving parts gimmick, and they had a better transformation for him, I think this could have been a really great toy. He does look like the CG model for movie Megatron. There's really no other way to put it. He looks like it, but he's not a good toy and he's not a good figure because of all these gimmicks they tried to throw in. Like what are these? Those weren't on Megatron in the movie, at least not that I saw. But yeah, I mean, I kind of understand why they did this, why they went with gimmicks rather than trying to get an accurate transformation. If you pay close attention, it took them a while to really get used to this new aesthetic that the Michael Bay movies were going for. And Hasbro is a talented toy company and talented toy design company, but there's only so much you can do at short notice. And they got the designs back for these guys, and I'm sure they were saying, well, what are we supposed to do with this? These don't look like anything we've ever made before, and I kind of understand that. And I think they did the best job they could, and they did a really good job with the deluxes, and with, I think, a couple of the larger figures. But for the most part, I think the leaders just were not really up to standard at that time. Because they were probably really struggling to come up with ways to carry out these transformations, and instead went with some gimmicks. And I can almost excuse that, except this is Megatron. Megatron is supposed to be threatening. But this guy, when he has to walk around bow-armed with straight legs that come out from under him every few seconds, and he can't even move his head side to side, that's not threatening. That's not threatening, guys. It's just, that's sad. That's really sad. Do I recommend picking this figure up? Not anymore. Maybe if they re-release him at retail or something with a new paint job or something, pick it up just to have it. It's an okay figure. It's an okay toy. It has its flaws, but I don't regret having it or anything. But I wouldn't go out looking for this figure, this exact figure. It's been a while now since it was out. It's going to be hard to find and it's going to be expensive. So, I don't know, maybe if you find it at a garage sale, that would be kind of something cool to pick up. But overall, don't worry about it. So, I want to tell you guys something real quick before I sign off. This week, we are going to look at all of my Megatrons, and we are going to try to pinpoint the best rendition of Megatron. That is the mission for this week. I know it is a grueling and difficult assignment, but I am happy to take it. And hopefully we will find a figure that is worthy of being called Megatron. Now, we've already seen Prime Megatron, and I said he is a good Megatron, but I don't think he's the best. So we are going to continue our quest tomorrow with another movie Megatron, with movie 2 Megatron. Let's see how he stacks up, shall we? Real quick, before I go, he is a leader class toy, so I want to show you a couple size comparisons real quick. Here he is, next to a 20-ounce bottle. You can see him. He's pretty tall. Here he is, next to an awesome Voyager toy. And here he is with a slightly less awesome Voyager toy. previews. And really, guys, that's all that there is to be said about Movie Megatron. So we are going to sign off here. This has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later.